Hello everyone, welcome in today's video. In today's video, we're doing a matchup of the King of the Monsters, Orochi from One Punch Man versus Godzilla King of the Monsters. We have a special guest on today's video. Say hello to Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yo.
He'll be doing a lot of the scaling for Godzilla in this video. I'll be doing some of the scaling for Orochi. He scales One Punch Man as well, it's my video, needs to be here. And with that, let's get started. Orochi's power is quite impressive. Orochi is the king of the monsters who rules with an iron fist over other monsters. If a monster was to try and be the monster king, they'd have to challenge Orochi. No monster challenges Orochi, so he is far stronger than every monster in the Monster Association, including the cadre monsters. If you remember in my Garo video, we did scaling for the power of Ugly Fur, one of the monster cadres, and we got him to small country level. This is scaling up from Fubuki and Genos when Genos was going to self-destruct and have a 5-kilometer explosion, and then we could scale him over 6 times more based on the level of Tatsumaki being able to overpower Fubuki's power by twice as much and then replicate it 3 times over. Despite this, he's not able to restrain Ugly Fur, and Ugly Fur is a character who gets ripped in half by the likes of Garu while he is sleeping. This same sleeping Garu is relative to Bang and Bomb. Bang and Bomb don't even compare to the likes of Overgrown Rover with their strongest attack not just failing, but Bomb was losing his entire inspiration for martial arts of how bad it worked. After this, we can then say how Overgrown Rover getting one shot by Saitama only made Orochi excited to fight him as he is a good candidate to make him stronger. In other words, Orochi is far stronger than these characters at small country level.
Orochi, the only reason the cadres obey Psychos and Orochi is because if don't, he'll just eat them, so you just upscale all of them.
Literally.
Even at the same time.
Yeah.
So that means the whole Black S Swarm, maybe if they fuse, because I know Murata did say Golden S is like about Orochi's level.
Yeah.
Other than that, he does upscale Evil Natural Water, Black S, You're Ugly, Grow Rover, Elder Centipede, Koketsu, all of them.
Yeah.
So we could get into the fact that when he realizes that Saitama beat the hell out of Koketsu, and you see kind of like mildly interested at first, and he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to add your power to mine. So he thinks he could, someone who off-screened both of those pretty powerful monsters.
Yeah.
And also spanked Rover like a bad dog.
This does make sense. Orochi's threat level is that of Above Dragon. Above Dragon is higher than most monsters in the entire One Punch Man series. One of the examples that isn't a monster is the Meteor. The Meteor, if you remember, we clearly see is able to threaten the entirety of City Z and even further. The entirety of City Z is absolutely gigantic, and if we were to calculate such, we get to a continental level of energy. Orochi should be much higher than this, and this is consistent with the likes of someone like Genos, whereas full power that only lasts 5 minutes, he's able to vaporize this very same meteor. Sadly, Orochi doesn't scale to something like Merge Psycho slicing the continent. The reason being, when Merge Psychos is born with her power, it is that of Orochi and Psychos, and then God intervenes, showing more power than both of them combined, and gave them the power to do this slice. This is in fact stated by Tatsumaki as well, claiming no way would the monsters be able to give that much power. It makes it even worse here because Orochi was in fact more powerful than normal, having adapted as he always does, and having monsters to absorb to make him even stronger. So we cannot use this feat for Orochi, sadly. One thing Orochi does have to make him even more powerful is his Gaia Cannon. Think of the Gaia Cannon a bit like Boris's collapsing star roaring cannon, but weaker. Instead of being all of Boris's latent energy, what Orochi does is he uses the power of the planet itself in order to charge up his attack. There are several different ways of calculating this feat. What I think is most consistent is a small planet level amount of energy. The Orochi himself doesn't scale to this sadly, but this feat is still very impressive, being able to match Saitama's serious squirt, even if Orochi dies straight afterwards from a normal punch.
Evidence that Orochi wouldn't scale to his fusion is the fact that he shoots like multiple of his fire attacks and Tatsumaki like rock double, and it's like a good chunk of, but not all of her power. While it does knock it out of the sky, it doesn't even breach like just her aura. It's like with Cyclos's big laser attack given by God. It's not like you're gonna either use full power to like stop it or like use a barrier and like actually pierce through it. And like she consistently tried to evade that attack as much as she could. She didn't like try to just face tank it like she did Orochi's fire attacks. Godzilla, he's also the king of monsters. He is the strongest one on the earth. In addition, really, are creatures like the Muto Prime being strong enough to generate any magnitude of earthquake possible on Earth, to being very much implied that a magnitude 12 is possible by the author. As you know, the tectonic plates could handle such a force, it is possible for the Prime to replicate it. He scales also basically about even to King Ghidorah, who's passively able to create Brazil-sized hypercanes that are of category 6 or higher varieties just by standing there for a few seconds, able to move these gigantic hurricanes at about hypersonic speed, generate insane amounts of kinetic energy, and these two are about even in physical strength. Take doesn't really matter too much. He's also stronger than the likes of King Kong. King Kong being able to casually withstand the Hollow Earth's vile vortex. This is stated to a target with equal gravity over the entire planet. You translate that to the gravitational potential energy over like the creature's body, it could easily be a multi-continental feat for Kong. Godzilla could easily fight King Kong for an entire night, kind of toying around with him. He definitely upscales this feat. Another feat that he would scale to is the meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs. This is because in a prequel comic called Godzilla Awakening, younger, weaker Godzilla either withstands the meteor or one of his relatives with the meteor. And these relatives fought the Kong race. So was able to easily beat a Kong. Should easily upscale that. That should easily be large country, multi-continental. We can see it's pretty consistent for Godzilla to be at this level.
So, looking at this, we can now compare the likes of Orochi and Godzilla, at least in terms of attack potency. As mentioned earlier, Orochi's attack potency seems to peak into the continental ranges, scaling from the meteor. However, as Godzilla is mentioned, Godzilla in Godzilla King of the Monsters scales in the multi-continental ranges through passive feats such as King Ghidorah. Even if Orochi was to use his Gaia Cannon, Godzilla has his own way of countering it. Do you want to mention what that is?
So, according to the Godzilla versus Kong novelization, the radiation that Godzilla uses is more fundamental than energy. It's said to be more comparable to a quantum state. A quantum state refer to most likely things on the atomic subatomic functioning wavelengths because of how quantum physics works. So this would most likely mean that anything Godzilla destroys can use subatomic calculations, which would mean that when Godzilla blasted into the core of the Earth, that this would actually get small planet plus levels of energy. If Orochi is able to use his Gaia Cannon, Godzilla should be able to counter the attack.
With that being said, it seems like for a lot of Orochi's attacks, he's going to have to attack a lot more frequently, or he's going to be able to, or he's going to need to strike in a way that does more damage from some sort of vital spot, because his current attack potency is far lower than that of Godzilla. Let's check out his other stats, such as speed, to see if something might change. Moving on to Orochi's speed, he's got very limited feats, but very consistent ones. Orochi's so fast that one of his horns is able to go in one shot a Waking Cockroach before Waking Cockroach could even react. A Waking Cockroach, for them if you remember, is someone who's so fast it's stated that no laser would ever hit him, and he's faster than the speed of light. Some of you may say a Waking Cockroach did not have his legs when this feat happened. However, that shouldn't matter, because a Waking Cockroach was still able to run just as fast away from Genos when he lost his legs. To make this scaling more consistent for those of you who may doubt it, we can scale back to the fact that Garu is also a character who should be able to move faster than the speed of light. Genos is able to avoid lasers from that of G4, and Genos fights quite evenly with a Garu who is very injured from his fights against other heroes. Garu then gets several times more powerful in his half-monster state, growing more powerful in every battle, becoming dragon level, and by the time he faces Orochi, still gets tagged by Orochi's horn in the first place. Afterwards, he gets tagged by Orochi several other times, would it be with his dragon breath, or Orochi punching him across the entire thing. With that being said, it should be very consistent for Orochi to scale to lasers or waking cockroach, all of which should be the speed of light. With that, I would say Orochi has light speed scaling.
For Godzilla's speed, this is going to be more controversial because we have like stated numbers for how fast his like running speed is, which is about like 200, 300 miles per hour, or something like that. And the combat speed and reaction speed are much more impressive because able to fight Ghidorah, Kong, Godzilla. These creatures are able to preempt, block, etc. His atomic breath. Atomic breath is stated in a guidebook to be made of Cherenkov radiation. This is a variant of ionizing radiation that moves 75% the speed of light in the vacuum of space, actually faster than light in water. But within air, it's roughly about the speed of light. This is backed up further with statements that it is a laser, with lasers are light. That's what the L stands for in laser. So he's able to make creatures that can dodge light, block light, and speed light, at least briefly. Should be at least light speed reaction time.
Another way of justifying this sort of light speed that Godzilla is giving is that, remember going back to King Ghidorah when he's moving this hurricane? This hurricane's absolutely gigantic, to the point where the calculation makes it almost weigh as much as a tectonic plate. Despite this, he's moving at a hypersonic speed, several times the speed of sound. So if he can do that with a tectonic plate on his back, imagine what he could do if it was just his normal speed, which is something Godzilla completely scales to. They fight several times in the King of the Monster movie.
On top of that, we have the fact that in GDK, the blast reached the core of the Earth at a speed that, if you take the cinematic timing as literal, would be Mach 83. And this has context is because the vile vortex needed to act like a black hole with the gravity inversion, meaning the fact that Godzilla was able to pierce through it at still such a massive, at a high hypersonic speed, would most likely mean that it's still light speed because it's actually overcoming the gravity well's ability to fight against it.
So with that being said, what we can say is both Godzilla and Orochi should have combat speed around that of the speed of light. Both of them have different ways of scaling to it, and both of them have it quite consistently for their combat speed. Now to explain why Orochi does not scale to characters like Platinum S or Flashy Flash, who have much better speed speeds than what we have mentioned.
It's stated by Murata that each individual S-Class hero would be able to fight one of Orochi's heads. People like Curry Prisoner, Zombie Men, everybody like that, who some don't really have very good reaction time, like Homeless Emperor shoots likewise, and Zombie Man could never react to them ever, despite, being an S-Class hero. So if he can tag Orochi, but it can't tag Light, and it's safe to say Orochi is most likely not a Gillian, so times the speed of light or anything like that.
Yeah, so Orochi, despite having power similar to characters like Platinum S, his speed is not on their level. His speed is definitely lower. And as Godzilla said, Barado implies that other S-Class heroes who shouldn't be anywhere near that speed can fight back. Let's now compare both combatants and see how well they do. It should be very clear that Orochi has a very distinct power disadvantage here. He's weaker than Godzilla, with both of them being at a similar level of power. So I'm going to try and think of something that allows Orochi to try and make up this difference. The first thing that comes to mind is the fact that when Orochi fought Garu, he was able to copy Garu's martial arts, or at least the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist, as that is the one he saw. When Garu fought Tank Top Master, he was able to use acupuncture and power redirection in order to damage Tank Top Master, someone who had a slight power advantage over him. So, Godzilla, what would you say to...
So, how does Godzilla deal with water stream rocks and fish?
Yeah, I would say like that. So, what...
I'd say Godzilla could deal with it a couple of ways. For one, his fighting style is much different than the people who Garo and Orochi who copied that Garo had faced. Because as Garo stated, these people like Tank Top Master and Metal Knight who are just swinging meatheads, whereas Godzilla fights more like an animal, but also more intelligently. This is shown with the fact that is able to use sumo wrestling moves and even a judo throw, but still uses his claws, teeth, tail, etc. We see that he can actually switch up his fighting style to actually counter more skilled opponents like King Kong. It does show like some of that sort of boxing style of fighting, meaning that and if Orochi started trying to use Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist, he might not even get the chance to reflect Godzilla's attacks back at him, or alternatively, because of Godzilla's larger power advantage, he would just pull a Dark Shine and just bulldoze through Orochi anyway. He
Yeah.
did to Garo and broke all his ribs.
Yeah, that might also be another issue here, because Garu's never successfully used the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist on someone who's bigger than him. The only character he's tried that on, who, like, successfully at all, was Orochi, and it didn't work. It wasn't successful against Orochi. So, for Orochi to copy it and now use it on Godzilla would be quite difficult. So, Orochi's height, for those of you... Yeah, for Orochi's height is around 41 meters, based on his comparison with Saitama. And Godzilla is 300 meters, am I right? Yes, 300 meters is far bigger than 41. In fact, Orochi would only be going up to like Godzilla's kneecap. So it'd be very difficult to apply the martial arts style that he learned from Garu to work on Godzilla. So if martial arts isn't going to work, I guess the next big thing that most people are probably thinking of, they're probably saying it right now, is what about the Gaia Cannon? So let's say Orochi is, I don't know, he's piqued Godzilla's interest, and now he's after piquing his interest, Godzilla's letting him sit there, charge up the Gaia Cannon. What's going to happen when he fires it?
So if we do say that these attacks are going to start clashing, and they're relative in speed, the problem is Godzilla can actually charge up this small planet level power pretty quickly when he's mad. As he showed in Hong Kong, against the Hong Kong, he is a bit charged up because he's doing an intimidation display. Then he charges up pretty quickly, whereas Orochi takes seemingly quite a while, as there's lots of like wide shots of like people reacting to his earthquakes and stuff. Most likely Godzilla would get it off first. So in character too, he wouldn't let it happen, since messing with the core is why he even shot a blast down there in the first place, just from calling like messing with the ancient axes. With someone like shaking the whole thing and like plucking a chunk out of it, I think he'd actually just get pretty mad and just fire first. While Orochi's charging it up.
In other words, Orochi's only chance of using an attack that's powerful enough to damage Godzilla would make Godzilla retaliate with an attack just as powerful, but do so before Orochi could even finish charging his. What do you think is Godzilla's most likely win con in the battle against Orochi? Like, what is Godzilla most likely going to do?
If I think his best win con is just his atomic breath in general. The reason for that is, as we see, it can expand to a size big enough to like make a hole larger than Kong's whole body. And Kong is like stated to be 108 meters tall, maybe 110. He's quite a bit bigger than Orochi, so it got some just get really mad, can fire and just destroy Orochi completely. The reason this would work too is he's able to negate regeneration from Ghidorah as he leaves burns in him. Ghidorah is able to regrow an entire head and neck in like a few seconds. So the fact that he was like frozen with burns on him means that he was able to deal damage more than the regeneration could fix. So Orochi's regeneration, he kind of seems better for lasting against damage, but not in terms of repairing damage, since he can't like heal normally. He has to like ingest blood. What's his name from Bioshock? Like eat biomass to heal.
He needs a lot of biomass as well. He ate almost every monster in the Monster Association just to regain like his original power after he got one shot by Saitama, and he still had most of his body down there. So it takes quite a lot of biomass to start regrowing Orochi. And as you just said, Godzilla can attack at a level, quantum. If he can attack at this quantum level and he already can negate regeneration, it's even better of that of King Ghidorah. What's most likely going to happen in this battle is he's going to fire that atomic breath. It's going to vaporize parts of Orochi or all of him all at once, and he's not going to be able to regen. So once that atomic breath fires, for whatever reason it is, like the scenario if Orochi starts charging up the Gaia Cannon and it enrages Godzilla because it's damaging the planet itself, Godzilla's atomic breath will kill Orochi, and there's nothing Orochi can do to stop it. So, with that being said, I do think, as described between both of us, that the winner of this battle will be the true king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. Anything else you want to say, Godzilla?
And to add on, we could say the more like Sage, Centipede, Evil Function tier, like One Punch Man. But those fights were like more weird to think about. That's why we chose Orochi instead.
Yeah. It's for someone in One Punch Man to rival Godzilla, you need someone far stronger, and they're not really kings of monsters. So it doesn't quite fit, but it gets the idea across. Like Sage Centipede, when Garu was rivaling Orochi's level.
He's probably more like beam flushing evil oceans like water jets or something.
Yeah. I was gonna mention him.
Like Fuse Cycles is God Beam or whatever. That's probably more like his level.
Yeah. I was actually gonna mention with Sage Centipede for like a comparison of the jump. When Garu was rivaling the sort of level of power that Orochi has in his like monster form, he was restrained by Sage Centipede using just one arm. But by the end of the fight, we find out there's like 666 million arms on Sage Centipede. So there's a huge gap between Orochi and Sage Centipede. Yet that's the gap you'd need for Godzilla to have like a good fight. And someone even bigger, like you say, Evil Natural Ocean, would be needed to match his atomic breath using his ocean cannon. Yeah.
I think in future we can talk about stronger versions of the character versus higher-ups, say the cosmic monster Aro, for example, versus a stronger version of Godzilla or some other monster, or perhaps someone from Dragon Ball, since everybody likes a good old Goku versus Saitama debate.
Yeah, that debate's never ending. Goku versus Saitama. We could see. We could do a video of how far does Saitama get.
Even if they fight officially in one win, it's never going to end.
So thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this versus battle. I hope you liked the Godzilla power scaling. I would like to thank Godzilla for coming on to this video. If you like Godzilla power scaling, do check out his channel. That is what he does all the time. It's really good content if you want to see Godzilla scaling. I was very impressed and surprised. So do check out his channel. He's close to getting up to 1,000 subs as well. Get him to 1,000 subs. As always, in the description of this video, there will be a list of other channels which are great content creators. Check them out.
Let's get it before the GDK sequel gets out.
Yeah, reply and watch his videos before the next sequel of Godzilla comes out. With that, hope you all have a good day. Thank you all for watching.